Fighting Spirit Bullet, also known as Focus Miss, one of the strongest fighting type moves in the game on the special side. Oh, Focus Blast. Sorry about that. I guess I forgot to scroll the rest of the way up the page there. Focus Blast, though, is one of the strongest fighting type moves in the game on the special side, normally used for a lot of coverage, though. But why is it so good, though, on Pokemon like Gengar and Alakazam? 120 base power. That's great. But why was I calling it Focus Miss? 70% accuracy. Yikes. Today, I say we go over a couple of ways we can hopefully buff the move Focus Blast and not make it seem so cringe when we see the attack missed. So first and foremost, I think Focus Blast should become 80% accuracy when it's used by a fighting type Pokemon. Now, this isn't completely out of the realm of possibility. We've seen this done before with moves, and at least buffed or even nerfed moves as a result. Look at the move Toxic. It's a 90% accurate poison type move that badly poisons the opponent. Ever since Generation 6, though, X and Y, the move is buffed to 101% accuracy, which is basically the accuracy for a sure hit, never miss, skips accuracy checks type of move when used by a poison type Pokemon. When a poison type Pokemon like Weezing or Swalot or Venusaur uses Toxic, the move doesn't miss. If you're in the air via Fly or underground via Dig or in the ocean via Dive, the move won't miss. Somehow they just don't pollute the ocean and it still will hit you. Go Team Aqua, I guess. But yeah, so we haven't, that's not the only time that we've seen this type of thing happen. Sure Cold is a 30% accuracy ice type move that is an automatic one-hit KO if it hits. If it's used by a Pokemon not of the ice type, the accuracy is 20%. So due to Focus Blast being such a powerful fighting type move, I can see it being 70% accurate when used by Pokemon like Gengar and Alakazam. But I think when it's used by a Pokemon like Mean Shao or even Scraggy or Hitmonchan if you want to be that guy, I think the accuracy should get buffed to 80%. There are some special fighting types out there that could probably use Focus Blast over the weaker Aura Sphere. Next is to use Focus Blast in a 2-turn type of combo. We've seen this before, of course, with Rain Dance and Thunder, Sunny Day and Solar Beam, even Defense Curl and Rollout. I think if you use Focus Blast, if you're going to use Focus Blast, you should use Focus Energy. Focus Energy can make Focus Blast gain 20 base percent to the accuracy. Not gain 20%, gain 20 base percent. If you're just gaining 20%, then you're basically only increasing Focus Blast accuracy from 70 to 84. I'm talking about gain a base 20%. That means the accuracy when used by a non-fighting type would be 90%, and if it's used by a fighting type, it would become 100% accuracy. Now you might think, well, now you've just fixed the whole thing with accuracy. You made it 100%. Not necessarily. Just like with Rain Dance and Thunder in Generation 2, before Drizzle became a thing, you have to use a turn to use the move Focus Energy. You're still taking a turn to set up. This is a 2-turn combo. You're not just getting that 100%. If you're a Gengar, which, sure, you could probably, along with these buffs, you could probably buff other Pokemon by finally giving them Focus Energy. Give Alakazam Focus Energy. He's all about that mental willpower. Surely he can sit down for a moment and instead of just calming his mind, he can focus his energy. And now sorry about that. Now Alakazam has a 90% Focus Blast hit chance. And nowadays with Terrestrialization, you could Terra it into a fighting type Alakazam, and then you have a 100% Focus Blast after using your Terra and after using your Focus Energy. You're using your resources to make this happen. Is it worth it? Depends on the battle situation. And next, we're going to talk about a Pokemon or two we can buff. For example, Blaziken would be a good Pokemon there that could use this combo. It got the close combat that it finally needed after so many years. Why not go ahead and give it a special option so you're not having to try and run it mixed? It already gets focus energy. Go ahead and give it that focus blast. Yeah, of course you're using 2 slots, but is it going to be worth it? Who knows? But besides that though, there's another Pokemon I want to touch on. One that, to put it simply, I hate. Unpleasant. Or as it's technically called, Unpheasant. I think this Pokemon could benefit the most from a Focus Blast buff. First of all, you'd have to give it Focus Blast. I understand that. Second of all, it already has Focus Energy. So, buff it by giving it Focus Blast. Because keep in mind, Unpheasant is the very next bird, Pokemon, the regional bird, that came after the wonderful and powerful, and I think globally liked, Staraptor. A Pokemon that got Intimidate. A Pokemon that got the first Brave Bird. A Pokemon that got Close Combat. A fighting type physical move, 120 base power, that cover its weaknesses for Rock and Steel. And when I mean weaknesses, I mean coverage. It can't hit Steel with normal and flying type moves. And yes, I know Staraptor got Heat Wave. Who's running Heat Wave on Staraptor? Now, in terms of Unpheasant here, it already learns Focus Energy. So its Focus Blast would be able to have 90% accuracy to it. Its base special attack is 65, but we've seen from generation to generation Pokemon getting stat buffs anywhere to plus 10, to plus 20, to maybe even plus 30 at some point. So I think you could easily buff its base special attack to a reasonable 85. I think that would be good, especially because it already uses moves like Hurricane and, well, I think it gets Hurricane. Yeah, I'm sure it gets Hurricane. It gets Air Slash, it gets Air Cutter, for the early game, I guess. So you buff its special attack to 85. You give it access to Focus Blast. And all you learn is Focus Energy, which also combines well with Super Luck. Keep in mind, if you use Focus Energy in the current gens, it's a 50% chance for a critical hit. So now, you're using a 90% accurate Focus Blast with 85 base special attack with a 50% chance for a critical hit. That will help us cover its Steel types it's going up against, its Rock types, and there is still a chance you can miss, so it is still balanced. How many times have you missed a 90% accurate Thunder Wave? I'm sure more than the 10 fingers on your hands. So that's basically it though. Obviously though, with Focus Blast and Focus Energy too, you could probably distribute it to a bit more Pokemon that have that special stat and the Focus Blast already in tow to make it a better Pokemon. So many Pokemon get Focus Blast because it's needed. It's a fighting type move that helps them cover for much needed weaknesses that they have, or that they're forced to switch out of because they can't do much damage to it and they would lose the 1v1. But then the next option is like Aura Sphere. And that's not a hugely distributed move. It used to be Lucario's signature move. Then it was like a Lucario and Legendary Pokemon move. Then in Generation 8, it became a TR and other Pokemon could learn it too. But it still wasn't widely distributed. I think Mean Shao is probably one of the few non-legendaries that could learn it back in Generation 5. So it's a needed move. And I mean, I don't mind Unpleasant here, but it could use some help. I mean, yeah, it has Hypnosis. I think it has like 2 Rays of Recovery, Roost, and Morning Sun. And I think it might get Wish too. I think it's a lot of recovery moves actually. But besides that though, Focus Blast being the 70% move that it is, 70%, look, 70. 70! Why is this a thing? And there's no chance to buff the accuracy? So yeah, it's time we go ahead and turn that 70 into something that we can actually use. Especially with a name as cool as Fighting Spirit Bullet. Like, come on now, Game Freak. It is time to buff Focus Blast. That's why people run Dazzling Gleam on their Gengars and their Alakazams now, ever since Generation 6. They'd rather have the 80 power fairy move than the 120 power fighting type move that will surely pick up a 1-hit KO compared to Dazzling Gleam's maybe 2-hit KO. So, with that being said though, that's how I would buff Focus Blast. Would you buff it the same way? Would you buff it a different way? Let me know down in the comments below. And with that, Don't miss that subscribe button with that 70% accuracy button click you got there. See you guys next time.